...2022 has been an amazing year for yours truly, the legendary Alex Cardinale. 2022 has been a great year for my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale. Tonight, 1 week before Thanksgiving, I show off my gratitude and I show my thanks to all my viewers, all my supporters, and everyone that worked with me to create the amazing YouTube videos. I show you how thankful I am. Tonight, I host the very first Viewer Appreciation Night. And tonight, I'm going to play the best interviews that I hosted here in 2022. So as my appreciation and as my gratitude for everyone that supports my YouTube channel and all my live streams here in 2022, as we approach Thanksgiving, I've got a real fun video coming your way tonight. So sit back, relax, enjoy all the guest interviews, and enjoy your dinner. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural Viewer Appreciation Night. I'm your host, the one and the only legendary Alex Cardinale. With Thanksgiving coming up next week, Thanksgiving will be here in just 7 days. Let me show my appreciation to you, my viewers, by playing my best interviews of the year. I've had some amazing guests this year, so tonight we're going to sit back, we're going to relax, and we're going to watch all the great interviews that I had here in 2022 and the inaugural Viewer Appreciation Night. Before I get started, I want to say thank you to everyone who's watched every video I hosted this year. I want to thank all my viewers, all my subscribers, all my supporters for watching my videos. I also want to thank my haters as well, because your view adds to my monetization count. So thank you as well. So I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving week coming up, and I hope you enjoy this video. Today, we're going to have interviews from Hollywood Donut Factory owner Kate, all the way to WWE Hall of Famer and hardcore legend Mick Foley, to Tangled Up in Cichlids owner Kevin Cumberton, and everything in between. So if you want to be a guest on the legendary Alex Cardinale YouTube channel to promote your business, your fish, talk about aquarium fish, or anything that you want to talk about, just email me, alexgoyankeescardinale19@gmail.com, and I will definitely love having you as a very special guest. Also, you can contact me on Facebook if you're interested in being a special guest. With that, let's get the action started. Our very first guest tonight is the owner of Hollywood Donut Factory, Kat. Unfortunately, she could not make our recording, but she is still here, and her presence is greatly appreciated.
It's a lot of work and challenging at times, but we love every minute of it. The last few years have been difficult with COVID, rising food costs, and a labor shortage. When you walk into our donut shop, you walk in a customer, but leave as family. The community response has been overwhelming, and we are extremely blessed to have a wonderful, caring community that stands together. Favorite donuts depends on the time of day. If I'm having a donut as breakfast with a cup of coffee, it's usually a honey bun or a classic glazed. If it's a treat, it's usually a vanilla dip with sprinkles or a blueberry cake. Classic glazed, chocolate dip with sprinkles, sour cream, guava and cheese, or dulce de leche. Another big seller is the cronut, which is a cross between a donut and croissant. Five, all of our donuts are made fresh daily by hand. We offer a variety of 70 different flavors. When you visit Hollywood Donuts, it's like walking into our home. 6. We offer breakfast and lunch. 7 days a week, and of course our delicious donuts. We also offer a secret menu item that is incredible, a bacon cheeseburger on 2 glazed donuts. What a combination of sweet and savory.
That was the Hollywood Donut Factory owner, Catherine. She was a guest on Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. You can find the full interview by going to my playlist, Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. All right, the next guest was a huge honor. As you guys know, I'm a huge WWE wrestling fan, and to say that I actually had a pro wrestler on my show is an understatement. But not just a pro wrestler, a WWE Hall of Famer, a hardcore legend, and perhaps one of the greatest sports entertainers of all time. To say that I had that on my YouTube channel, that is incredible. It's showing how much I have grown over the last 8 years. Mick Foley was an honorary guest on my 8-year YouTube anniversary this past March. Let's check out his incredible interview.
How, Alex, my man, my main man. You know who this is. That's right, Daddy. It's exactly who I think you were thinking. I think you think I think you think it is. Dude, love the hippest cat in the land, sending you greetings of peace, ow, love and understanding and appreciation for 8 big years on that wacky, kooky YouTube. Happy anniversary to you, my friend. And now, speaking of wacky and kooky, may I introduce you to somebody who, like you, is a risk taker. Yes, somebody who, like you, loves going hardcore. The dude is more of a lover than a fighter, but I'm a fighter too, Daddy, so don't even get your thoughts going. Okay, I present to you, ow, that wacky cat. Please say hello to, that's Cactus Jack, the original face of Foley. I want to wish you a happy anniversary, and I want to add to that, bang, 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 bang. Wow. Whoa. Alex, how is that for a anniversary extravaganza? That's right. You saw the WWE Hall of Famer, the hardcore legend, Dude Love, and you saw Cactus Jack. Oh, we're missing one guy, aren't we? It is a big anniversary, and you are a big WWE fan. Let me see if I can pull some strings and make this happen. Hold on a second. Mankind. Yeah, that's me. Here to save this video because you weren't doing a very good job with it. I've got a song. It goes like this. I'm wishing you a happy anniversary because I'm Mankind and you're my pal. When your gifts are open, this is Mankind hoping you find one you love. Alex Cardinale. I rhyme pal with Cardinale. Yeah. Whoa, wow, there you go. You get the full three Foley faces of Foley experience. I'm sorry. The lighting is not perfect here, but I wanted to get this out to you ahead of the 8-year anniversary. Hey, that takes a lot of dedication, what we in the trade refer to as fortitude. You have it, in to spare, my friend. You have it to spare. So keep up the great work. Thanks for thinking of me, and happy anniversary. Yeah.
When the legendary Mick Foley agrees to be on your YouTube channel, you know you have made it. I was so honored and thrilled to have had Mick Foley be a part of history as I celebrated my 8-year YouTube anniversary this past March. And I look forward to working with Mick Foley once again in the 9-year YouTube anniversary this upcoming March as we celebrate 9 strong years. Shout out to my Catherine Jones, who is in the house. Hey, Catherine, how are you? We're going to play your interview a little bit later on here in the Viewer Appreciation Night. But yes, I was incredibly honored and so proud that Mick Foley agreed to be on my 8-year YouTube anniversary. And hopefully in 2023, we'll have more appearances, not only from Mick Foley, but from other WWE wrestlers and Hall of Famers. So now we're going to go to a serious guest with a serious topic. Do you know someone that watches a lot of porn? Do you know someone that might be considered a pervert or a porn addict? Well, did you know that porn addiction is a real thing and it can cause people to be locked up and get terminated from their jobs? This guest experienced all that, and yet he turned his life around to become a porn addiction counselor. Here is the interview that I had with Joshua Shea on an episode of Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. It's time for our guest interview, and this is my first guest interview in a couple of months. Today I have a unusual topic, but I think it's going to be a very important topic that we talk about. Addiction comes in many forms. Alcohol, drugs, and gambling are the most common. But did you know people can become addicted to pornographic stuff or become addicted to porn in general? And that is exactly what our guest specializes in. Our guest today is Joshua Shea. He is a former pornographic addict turned expert on a mission to get the world talking about pornography addiction and the potential ramifications being a porn addict can cause. He's given a TED Talk and written 4 books on the subject. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest, Joshua Shea. Josh, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Alex. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
You're very welcome. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for accepting the invite.
Happy to talk about this subject with anybody who's willing to listen. It's one of those things that a lot of people want to ignore or don't realize is out there because we tend to, as a society, like to stick our heads in the sand when it comes to talking about sexual issues, especially negative sexual health issues. So I applaud you for being willing to tackle this.
Thank you very much. So tell us how you first came into contact with porn and ultimately what it led to before you changed your life around.
Yeah, well, the biggest part is that my cousin, when I was 12 years old, showed me pornography, hardcore pornography, magazines for the first time. The internet hadn't started yet. It would be another 6-7 years before everybody was getting online. And I was addicted right away. And I am very much a textbook kind of pornography addict. I do have a fair, or I did, I should say, have a fair amount of trauma in my background. Almost every pornography addict you meet has some kind of unresolved trauma. Mine came from abuse, both of a sexual nature and of a mental and emotional nature. at the hands of a babysitter when I was young. When I finally saw pornography, I don't know exactly why my 12-year-old mind absolutely connected with it, but it didn't take me years to become an addict. It literally took minutes. After I saw hardcore pornography for the first time, I was insatiable. I wanted more and more. And I can tell you that as somebody who was also an alcoholic, 2 years later, when I got drunk for the first time at 14 years old, it was the exact same feeling I had when I saw pornography for the first time. It hit me like a lightning bolt. And pretty much for the next 24 years of my life, I use these two things interchangeably to try to deal with the stress and all of the other horrible things that, come with life, anxiety and whatnot. But ultimately, it led to me going completely out of control. I ended up, because of my alcohol, because of my pornography addictions, losing my job. And I had a very impressive job where I live here in Maine. I ran several magazines. I was even 1/3 owner of the company. And
Yeah.
the other two owners actually fired me because I was doing such a poor job running the company. And thankfully, I didn't lose my family. My wife, who worked in healthcare, she understood addiction even better than I did. She knew that I was sick. She also knew that nothing was going to change until I did something about it. She only knew about the alcoholism. That's what most people only knew about. I actually went off to rehab in Palm Springs, California. And it was when I was there that my case manager said, "Have you considered the fact you might be a porn addict?" I didn't think pornography addiction was a real thing. To be honest, I didn't even think addiction was a real thing. But I met with a certified sex addiction therapist off campus. He taught me how addiction is truly a brain disease, how porn addiction is absolutely a genuine addiction, and how my porn addiction predated my alcoholism, and how it probably did more damage to me and informed more of my poor decision making in my life than my alcoholism. And that was just when I discovered that there was the problem. And that was about 8 years ago. Since then, I've been fighting it every day. Like you said, I'm an expert now. Since I was a journalist, since I did work in magazines, when I was trying to get better, I love doing research. And I went to a bookstore. There was nothing on pornography addiction. I went on Amazon. There was very little there. And I just simply decided that I would start to create books on this. And it was only through the pandemic that I started doing coaching. I was doing much more speaking than anything else. But when the pandemic hit, I had to figure out a way to make money, and coaching seemed like the natural way. And I tell you, it fits like a glove. It's absolutely the most wonderful thing that I've ever done, is helping young men and women who were in places like I was, but I didn't have anybody to go to. I didn't have anybody to talk to. And I feel like maybe what I'm doing with my coaching, with having such a big following on TikTok, with writing the books, maybe I am helping to not have the future Joshua Shays out there. Maybe I'm helping to curb porn addiction before it kicks in. And as I said at the top of the show, we need to talk about this as a society. Since we give every 10-year-old kid the greatest porn computer ever invented with the smartphone, but we don't teach them how to use it, we need to start talking about this.
Very well said. I'm glad that you're wanting to be a positive role model.
Well, it's just, kind of the way that I am. And I look at it, and I look at my life for a very long time. People saw me playing a character. I tried to pretend I was this guy who had everything all put together. And, I was a local politician, and I had other things going for me that on the outside looked like I had a great life. But when it was the end of the day, when everybody went to bed, when there was no more city council meetings, when there was no more events to cover for the magazine, and it was just Josh sitting on the couch, I couldn't just sit there by myself and be with myself. I needed to get to my addictions because I had these deeper problems. And now that I've dealt with them and I realize just how much better my life is on the other side, I want to tell everybody about it and encourage them to, do what I did. But my God, don't wait as long. Get help as soon as you can.
So that leads to the burning question: what's wrong with looking at porn?
Well, that's a great question, Alex, because theoretically, only 18% of people will become porn addicts. That's the statistic that we have right now. That's across all demographics. Among young males, right now, according to a study by the Barna Group, 33% self diagnose themselves as having a problem with pornography, beginning to develop an addiction, or having a full on addiction. Now, that's a scary stat. If 1 out of 3 men who are 18 to 30 believe they have an issue with pornography, those men are going to become 40. Those men are going to become 50. Those men are going to have sons of their own and daughters of their own. What kind of a society are we going to have if this many people are sexually unhealthy? That's really what scares me. And I think that if we can just, pull up our grown up pants and say, okay, we don't have to describe what's happening in pornography. We don't have to get into great detail about the graphicness of it, but we need to accept the fact that people are interested in it. And it makes sense because it's sexuality. And you can go back to cave paintings. You can go into any museum. It's sexuality. And you can go back to cave paintings. You can go into any museum and look at the ancient pottery. You will find sexual depictions on it. There's nothing wrong with sex. Sex is a wonderful gift from our Creator. However, it can lead down a road that is unhealthy. I tell people I'm not anti pornography necessarily, I'm pro healthy sexuality. But the problem is now the average kid starts watching pornography when they're 11 years old. Now, for those of us who are older and have had healthy, normal sexual relationships, we understand that sex is not like it's depicted in pornography. Um, since I've got big on TikTok, I've actually had many porn stars approach me and say, keep doing what you're doing, keep telling the real story. Because even porn stars don't have sex like it looks like they do in the movies. The movies are fiction. But if you're an 11-year-old kid or a 13-year-old kid or a 15-year-old kid and you have not had a normal relationship as of yet, how would you not know that what you're watching is not fiction? How are you going to recognize that, pornography is not a reality show? It's not real life. This is not how people interact. But we now have kids who are watching this every day, 30 minutes, an hour every day. Think about that. How many hundreds and thousands of hours is that? By the time they're 18 or 19 years old, we know now, based on studies that are being done, that people do take sexual norms and society's sexual norms are impacted by pornography. Yet, you look at some of the pornography titles out there, and 1 out of 7 pornography titles, if you go to the major websites, according to a recent study, actually lists a sexual crime as something people want to see. So if you've got these kids
Wow.
just getting this fed to them again and again and again and again, what is that going to do to them? Forget it. Forget addiction. Most of them won't be addicts, but what's that going to do to them? I'll tell you a really quick, interesting story. Was a while back, I was at a college here in Maine giving a presentation to a woman's sexual health group. And one of the women asked me, and this was actually a couple of years ago. One of the women asked me, "Have you heard about women in college or college age women, or even high school girls not wanting to have sex with virgin men?" And I said, "No, I haven't. I don't talk to them a lot." And what she explained was that so many boys are growing up watching pornography and taking their cues from what they see. And when you consider pornography, 97% of pornography that's been studied has some kind of sexual aggression, almost always the male towards the female. What is that causing? 40% of consensual sexual acts between a male and a females are reporting that 40% of the time they have actually been involved in something that was too aggressive, in something that crossed the line, in something that didn't make them feel good. Now, what are these guys who are growing up on porn? How are they going to know the difference? So, a lot of these women are actually now not wanting to have sex with virgin men because they know that they're going to act like the porn stars they see on film, who say horrible things to women, who bend them in all kinds of different shapes. And that doesn't even get to the point of how almost all of these film clips end. That's not real life. And that's what these women don't want to deal with. They don't want to have to teach a virgin man what you've been watching for 7, 8 years is not real. They would just as soon stay away from it. So you get just this sexual sick society. And that's even outside of addiction. We need to talk about how pornography is affecting our youngest and how it's changing the culture. I mean, just look at something like OnlyFans. You know, what's that going to do to all of these young men and young women who have decided it's worth $5 or $10 to expose themselves to their friends and to the world on camera? What's that going to do to them in 5 years? What's that going to do to them in 10 years? I'm not necessarily talking about, oh, your kid will see you had a picture, or in 20 years you'll not get a job because something. There's too much nudity out there at this point. It won't even matter. What I'm wondering is, what is the mental fallout going to be from these people who have decided selling their bodies online? What's that do to them? We don't know, because this has never happened in society before. We are in some very scary waters, and we need to start talking about it.
I agree 100% with you. I'm actually not a fan of OnlyFans, and I don't respect people that post nudes online for money. It's kind of gross when you think about it.
Well, look at it this way, Alex. When I was in high school, there was no social media. We didn't have it. If there was a photo of like the buff football player and his cheerleader girlfriend, and they were at the beach, him in his shorts and his good abs, and her in her bikini and her great body, it would have been passed around the lunchroom, and everybody would have been like, "Oh my goodness, have you seen the picture of the two of them?" But what do we have today? We have Instagram, we have Snapchat, we have TikTok. It is normal for 15 and 16-year-old kids to be posting half naked photos of themselves. It's almost expected that you're going to go find half naked photos of these people online. So you tell me, when you've got let's say just a female, the day before she turns 18, what's the difference between her wearing a bikini and the day she turns 18 taking off her top? Well, suddenly she can now charge all of the guys who look at that Instagram photo, she can charge them $20 a pop. 50 of them want to see it. That's $1,000. Now, with the breaking down of sexual taboos that we've seen, it's not that big of a deal for her to take her top off, and it's worth $1,000. You can understand why they want to do it. Why would you go work at McDonald's? Why would you go work at a bowling alley? Why would you do anything when you can work for 30 minutes a day and make $1,000? It's not a healthy society that we're creating here with this kind of do-it-yourself pornography.
That is very true. So this next question is very important. How can you tell when someone is addicted to porn?
Well, it's important to recognize that addiction or addicted is just a label. There is no blood test for it. But what you can usually look for, whether it's yourself or with others, is a change in attitude. When somebody's addicted, basically it means that they engage in a behavior or an activity that they understand can cause negative repercussions, but they won't stop nonetheless. And a lot of times this means that they choose the pornography over their friends. Hey, everybody's going out Friday night. You want to go out with us? No, I'm going to stay home. Okay. Or if you ask somebody, hey, you look at a lot of porn, don't you? Well, do you know who doesn't care if they're asked that? People who don't have porn problems. It's like if I asked, Alex, tell me about your heroin problem. You'd laugh at me because you probably don't have a heroin problem. But if you ask somebody about their porn problem, they get very defensive. That's a very good way to see that they've got an issue there. They're obsessing about it. They talk about it a lot. They start to become less reliable. They start to become more depressed. These are all symptoms of porn addiction. And it can be a very serious thing. I work with people every day, and it's just like any other addiction. It takes over your mind. The amount of people who tell me, I tell myself I'm only going to look for 20 minutes, and then 3 hours later, I'm still there. Or I'm only going to look 2 or 3 times this week, and suddenly I'm looking every day of the week. Now you start to see people who are in relationships doing this and lying to their partners, and relationships are getting ruined all over the place because of pornography. Because one partner, usually the woman, says, I don't want this in our relationship, but the guy is often a porn addict heading into the relationship. They have to hide it. I also deal with betrayal trauma and deal with, the fallout of people who, I thought my husband never looked at this stuff. I thought he didn't care. Now I found out he's been looking at this stuff for 10 years.
So that was an interview with porn addict Joshua Shea. You can watch the rest of the porn interview with Joshua Shea on my YouTube playlist, the legendary Alex Cardinale, YouTube playlist Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. Another interview I did this year that I really enjoyed was with my personal friend, Daryl. Daryl is a fish keeper just like me, and Daryl lives in South Florida. And earlier this year, a couple of months ago, I had the opportunity to have him on my YouTube channel and on Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. And it was a great interview. Daryl and I talked about fish keeping and his role as a. Let's check out this amazing interview that I did with Daryl earlier this year. I am super excited for this week's guest interview. I'm going to be having a wonderful friend of mine on the show today. He is a perfect fish keeper. He knows a lot about fish, and he made me more enthusiastic about the aquarium hobby. So we're going to talk a little bit about tropical fish. But he's also a high school social studies teacher, and we'll talk about that as well. So our guest today is my dear friend Daryl Schwartz. Daryl, welcome to the show. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I'm happy to have you on my show. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be here today.
Oh, you're welcome.
You're a great friend of mine, and I'm happy to have you on my show.
I'm happy to be here and be on the show and share some thoughts with everybody.
That's awesome. I know back in July of last year, I interviewed you as well.
Mm-hmm.
So my first question for you, how did you get into the aquarium hobby?
Well, originally got into the aquarium hobby. I have to go back to probably when I was 6, 7 years old. It'd probably be a very, very long time ago. But my mother owned a pet shop in Chicago called the Gilded Cage Pet Shop on Irving Park Road in Chicago. She had a fish, it was a typical, normal, old country style type pet shop with fish and birds and rabbits and chickens and literally everything in there, monkeys back then, and dogs, of course, and cats and stuff. So, but she had fish, and I always was fascinated with the fish. And so she gave me a goldfish, and the goldfish was in a small tank, and it had a little, I remember, a brown spot on top. And of course, I named him Tippy because he had a little tip on top color. So that was my entry in, was a goldfish, and then later on, probably around 16 years old, we moved to Florida. My mother was working as a sales manager at Doctor's Pet Center in Westland Mall in Hialeah. And I was about 13, 14, and I was, I had a couple small fish tanks and stuff. And so she got me a job, and I worked under the table because you couldn't get paid when you're around 13 years old. So I cleaned fish tanks and set them back up and stuff like that. And then I took my payout in trade, fish tanks and stuff like that. And ultimately what really got me hooked into it at that time, that's even before I was getting paid, they had a show tank, a 55-gallon with a big Oscar in it. And I remember it was, I had accumulated some money based on pay and everything. And the owner gave me the tank because he wanted to move that out because he needed room for something else. So I got my first 55-gallon fish tank with a full-grown Oscar in it. And that hooked me for life. And his name was, by the way, Oscar. So that's how I got into the pet fish shop. While working there, I rose up eventually to a lead sales manager type position in there. I stayed in the pet shop for many years, but I ran the fish department, and I had, I think, up to 75 fish tanks at one time running, and I was responsible for maintaining them and maintaining the fish. And I knew how to break down and clean a tank, strip it down, and set it back up like in 15 minutes. So I got down to really good, be able to take them down, clean them, put them back into the system and everything. But I was responsible for everything. So that's where I learned it. And I guess from then on, it stuck with me, I've never grown up. I guess people say, what are you going to do when you grow up? I don't know yet. I'm still, I showed you a picture of my freezer the other day. It's got all fish food in there. So,
Nice. That must have been cool growing up as a pet store owner.
Mm-hmm. That was a lot of fun.
But
also dealing with the tragedies, in fish tanks. If anyone's ever worked in a pet shop, you get a shipment of fish in the bags, and then within days, fish die from all different things. So a lot of it's a lot of stress in there trying to keep them alive, keep them healthy, And so it taught me a lot, how to look at fish and how to read them and everything. So I guess that's what stuck with me to keep me successful today.
Nice. You have plans of opening another pet store?
No, I always, I know a few people in the area that have fish tank stores, mainly saltwater right now, and it was their hobby, so they have their huge hobby tank. They got a 600-gallon tank. That's their hobby tank in the store. And then they sell fish and they do help setups and stuff. So it's a possibility, but I think I like to just sticking to the hobby now and not worrying about, losing my profits, with everybody, fish dying and stuff like that. So I'll stick to just the hobby.
Yeah, that's true. The hobby is more relaxful.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like growing up working at pet shops?
It was kind of interesting. I think I got, learning how to deal with all the smells and the stenches and all the different things that go on, because I had to clean the reptile room and, the small animal rooms and the dog cages and stuff. So it wasn't as glamorous as what everybody would think, And if you think of just cleaning your own little fish tank, that's one thing. But if you have 75 fish tanks and 20 fish tanks have to be cleaned and broken down and reset up, before the fish come in, a lot of work, But it was something I enjoyed. The fish department sales outnumbered the dogs and all the other departments. I was really excited because, if you do a good job, and you notice that probably today, Alex, when you look at pet shops today or fish stores, if a fish store does a great job with managing their fish, they get a lot of customers, and the customers will continue to come back. You do a lousy job, you have lousy fish, lousy setups, you're never going to maintain the customers or the sales. And so that was one of the things I learned about being successful in there. So, and I took that on with the rest of my life, how to sell. I sold someone came in, wanted to buy a small little fish. They needed a fish tank, and they walked out with spending $300-$400, on a tank setup, So I learned how to become a good salesperson, which did launch my careers later on in sales.
That's awesome. I know you introduced me to a great fish store called Aquatic and Exotic. I really love that store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's more of a mom and pop store. You don't see those too often anymore. Everything's become. I won't mention any other names, but the three big ones, all the different franchise or corporate stores that are out there that all look alike and everything. But there's very few stores that we call the true mom and pop stores that have 40, 50, 100 tanks, and actually maintain a good collection of fish.
Yeah, I can't wait for next Saturday. We're going to go back there. I can't wait to see what I'm going to get.
Yeah, and then I'm going to get in trouble because I'll bring something home with where are you going to put it?
I don't have to worry about that anymore.
I'll blame Alex. I'll say, Alex gave it to me. It was a gift. Get you in trouble.
What kind of fish are you currently keeping?
I've got a variety. Actually, I'm in my fish room right now. Actually, right behind it, my desk now actually has fish tanks on it, which I never thought I would have. I have everything from a female beta sorority, which is the smallest, and successfully they've all got along. I know that's a big argument in the fish industry, in the fish aquatic community right now that you don't put female betas together. I have 4 betas in a 5-gallon fluval tank, and they all get along great, and they chase each other, but nobody nips each other, and they do great. I have king betas. I've got a couple king betas, and then I have saltwater fish. Especially with clownfish and puffers, and then I move on to my freshwater fish. I have a pond with goldfish and koi outside. And then I have my what I call my big tanks. I have several 55 gallons. One's a Severum tank now with an arowana growing out of it. The other 55 has Severums and silver dollars and some parrotfish and some eels in there now because I'm trying to grow some eels out, tire track eels. And then the big tank, my big tank, of course, is as you know, I think I have all your red hooks now. Yeah. I had one, and my wife goes, "How do you end up with like 8 or 9 of them?" I said, because we grew it. I have a huge school of red hooks, which is amazing. I have of course, a red tail catfish that red hooks, which is amazing. I have of course, a red tail catfish that's eating me out of house and home right now. The vulture catfish in there, and a ornate bircher. I always say bircher in there. So, and then a black arowana, black-finned arowana in there. So that's the big tank. And then I have a bunch of smaller saltwater tanks and some freshwater tanks where we'll grow out stuff. So it's so I have 14 tanks going together right now in the house. So I can't add anything.
You have some great fish. You're an amazing fish keeper, and I'm glad that I rehome my fish to you because you take significant care of your fish, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you. I think one of the biggest things, which I'm going to give a comment or thought, and that's for anybody that listens to really think through, and the pet shops, of course, do a horrible job on this, but even a lot of people that enter the fish, they're listening and they're new fish hobbyists. When you look at a fish or you buy a fish, you got to realize ultimately, look at how big they're going to grow. And it's something that a lot of people make a mistake. Oh, look at that cute little red tail catfish, or look at that cute little red hook, or look at, you see things in the pet shop, but you don't realize that's going to be 14, 15, 18, 20, 40, 50 inches long. And if you can't accommodate its grow out, eventually you'll kill it because its body won't grow enough and the organs will eventually destroy themselves within the body of the fish. So I think that somehow educating people and also the pet shops, because I know they don't want to lose sales, but understanding how big a fish can really grow, I think that becomes very, very important to kind of understand. And, and then you'll have an amazing hobby. You'll enjoy your fish. They'll live a long time. Like you have yours, Alex, you're going to have fish there 10, 15, 20 years in life, because you got them in appropriate size fish tanks.
Very true. I appreciate that you send photos and videos of the fish that I rehomed you. I really appreciate that. They're in great hands.
Well, thank you. Well, I want you to see how good they're doing and how they're growing, and how happy they are.
So for those of you that don't know, I rehomed most of my fish to my friend Daryl, and they're in a great home. That includes my red hooks, the ornate, and a couple others.
Mm-hmm. And the bass, which has his own tank now with a turtle.
He's getting huge at peacock bass.
Yes.
I like them. They just have a hungry appetite.
Yeah, hungry appetite. And then they hit a certain size, they become very aggressive. Unless you school them, just like you have your tiger barbs, you really have to maintain a school of peacock bass for them to check on each other, If they're 1 or 2, then they become aggressive towards other fish in the tanks.
True, kind of like me, hungry and aggressive.
Yes. Can you fit it in your mouth and will it taste good, right?
Just kidding.
I know, it's the same thing here.
So my next question is kind of a personal question for me. What would you say about me as a fish keeper?
I think you're a very good fish keeper, and you do. I want to tell, and I'm going to share this because I know sometimes people comment, well, look at the color of his water in this tank, because I know people pick on you sometimes on that. You have, and I have to say for Alex, I am totally shocked and amazed, Alex, at your fish and how big and fast they grow. You do an amazing job. Some of your fish have doubled in size over my fish, and I don't know how you do it, unless you're injecting them with growing food, growing hormones. But your fish are amazing. They're all healthy, and they're very happy. And I think that's one of the things I've learned over the years too, is my fish tanks don't look perfect. Some of my tanks have algae growing up on the walls and stuff like that, and the way the tanks may look, but the fish are happy, they're healthy, and I think that's what counts. And you do an amazing job with your fish, and I do have to compliment you on that.
Thank you very much. That means a lot to me. Yeah, I get a lot of the people that heckle me about why my water is so cloudy and stuff, but they don't understand water that's crystal clear is not necessarily a good thing.
Correct. Yeah. If you go to a river, the rivers aren't crystal clear. The rivers are going to be a brown tint to the waters. It's more our human nature to want to see a perfectly crystal clear tank. Without a speck of algae on the wall or something on a glass. But that's not the real nature, Mother Nature.
True. I mean, if you do water changes every day, it'll probably be crystal clear, but is it really beneficial for the fish?
Mm-hmm. I have one fish tank, which is a 55 right now, and it has not been cleaned in 10 years.
Wow.
Almost 10 years. But the gravel hasn't been touched, and I won't touch it because that'll be an ammonia blow up, but it's got enough of perfect aminos and ammonia, the positive stuff eating everything in the bottom in the gravel bed, and the fish are perfectly healthy in there. That's the one I'm growing out of silver arowana in right now with the severums.
True. I'm very fortunate to have a great fish keeping friend like you. I haven't had one in so many years.
No, it's good. It's fun to have because you can bounce things off each other, and we all go through days. We have a tragedy. We lose a fish. Something's not working right. Heck, after all those years, I had an algae bloom a couple weeks ago, and I sent that to you. I'm like, oh my God, how could this happen? My wife goes, your tank's turning green. What do you mean it's turning green? I'm at work. The water's turning green. So it happens to the best of us.
True. I enjoy our fish store trips. Those are fun.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done that in over a decade since our last trip.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say is your favorite fish?
My favorite fish, I'm going to have to do, I would categorize two different ones. My favorite fish is my Oscar, and I haven't had one in a long time. Well, when I acquired the 150-gallon tank, she came with the tank. And she has become so personal. She comes up to me. She yells at me, opening her mouth. I open the glass. She comes right up, and almost I can put my head to her head. She put my hand in. She'll swim around the hand, wanting to pet it. It's just, and she's a gentle giant. She won't touch anything. She won't hurt anything. And she constantly looks at herself and says, "Look how beautiful I am." She constantly looks at her reflection. And then I would have to really say it would be the red hooks. It's amazing to see, which not too many people have an opportunity to have 8 red hooks in a school, and full grown, and watching them swim together in unison and talking to each other. When it's feeding time, they almost look like piranha because I'll throw the green algae tablets in it right at the end after I do the main feeding, and they'll all go at it almost like a piranha, But it's just it's amazing to see a school of fish be able to swim in a big tank like that and be healthy. I think those would be my 2 best favorites.
Yeah, Oscars are a great fish. I love red hooks too, but I got my wide bars that get pretty big, so I decided to keep them.
My red tail is probably my other favorite, but I'm figuring out that I've already been thinking it's going to have to come out 150 soon, and probably have to go into the pond, the above ground pond all set up, But
nice.
The only thing I have to worry about the red tail. I love him, but he's a pig at eating. He looks like a gulper catfish. At the end of the night, he's like, I'm going to eat more, and then he sits all day exhausted trying to digest his food. But he doesn't bother anybody. Doesn't want to eat anybody, and you got to keep him full of food so he doesn't eat anybody.
True. I'm kind of jealous of you. I've always wanted a black arowana, but you got one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one day I'll get one.
And the arowanas are also my favorites. I think almost all my monsters are my favorites. I guess I would put that. Everybody in that big tank are my favorites. Differently. Even the vulture catfish. They're the way they act and the way they'll swim around. And one thing I read about vulture catfish, by the way, never feed them by hand, because I was reading a few articles that they will rip your fingers apart because they have a full set of teeth that you do not see embedded.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And people have gotten the tips of their fingers ripped off when they go to put a piece of fish down there for the vulture to grab out of their hands. The red tail's fine; he doesn't have any teeth, but the vulture, they do have teeth.
I imagine it'd be quite painful.
Yes, people have said very painful bites.
So I know you're a teacher. With friend Daryl, you can catch the rest of that interview by going to my playlist, Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale, here on my YouTube channel. Now, our next guests are my friends Catherine and CJ Jones. We always have a great time talking, and this was taken from earlier this year. Let's check it out. Are you ready for some fun? It's time for our guest interview. And this week I have two guests. For the very first time ever, we are going to be celebrating a anniversary. And our two guests today are great friends of mine and also fellow podcasters. And incidentally, they are responsible for the creation of this show, Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. So I'm incredibly honored to have them as guests today. So joining us today is Catherine Jones from This Needs to Be Said, and also her husband, CJ Jones. How are you guys doing today?
We
Been
are
doing
well. I'm
good.
wonderful, right? I can't just speak for him, right? Just assume.
Yeah, and I've been
Wonderful.
doing great.
That's awesome. It's been a while since we talked.
It has been.
Yes. Yeah.
Happy anniversary to you guys.
Oh,
Thank
thank you.
you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. How long have you guys been together?
Well, we have been reunited for 4 years, and we have been officially married for 2 years.
Yes, today.
Today. As a matter of fact, today and 3 hours and 18 minutes.
Well, no, we got.
About-
what time do we
about
get married?
much.
What time do we get married 2 years?
It was like
ago?
4. It was like 4. It was
So
like
yeah, I guess so
Yeah.
then. Okay.
Yeah. So we are officially 2 years marriage.
Mhm.
Nice. That's good. So how's the marriage so far?
Hard. Marriage is hard.
It's work. It's work. It's just marriage. What I would like to how I describe it is it's intentional. Once all the glitz and the glamour dies down, it's what most people would call like once the Hollywood phase of it all. You're like, I'm so in love, I'm so in love, I'm so in love, I'm so in love. Like once that begins to kind of like die down a little bit, when you really start to really get to know one another, then that's when you realize, hey, you know what? This is either really, really going to work, or wow. So my baby, we have purposefully have made this union work, and every day I would like to think I know I wake up with the purpose of knowing that I'm trying to be the best husband I can be for her. I don't want to speak for my wife, so
Well,
you
I
take
already said it was hard, so I'm not gonna dress it up any more than that. It's hard.
Oh, okay.
Marriage is hard.
I'm still single over here.
Yeah. Being single is hard too.
True.
So it doesn't get easier. So if you're thinking I'm gonna get married and it'll be easier, it's not.
I think you have more money when you're single.
I think you do. I know CJ definitely has more money. If he didn't have me, he would definitely have more money.
I think it's not so much of that. It's like your money is purposed in different areas, so it definitely feels like you have less. But I guess in essence, I guess I think it kind of stays the same, because one of the things that Kat and I was debating there for a little while was going out versus cooking at home, and that's what I'm bouncing my response to you from that from, because she did kind of prove to me that like even if we cooked at home versus like going out to eat, we're still pretty much spending about the same. And I'm like, okay. It was a long argument, but I saw her side of it.
I think for special occasions like this, going out to eat is the way to go.
Uh
The way groceries are so expensive nowadays, it might be a little bit more to cook at home.
oh,
Shoot, it might be. I know when I tried to cook the ribeye steak at home, it was expensive. I was like, I could have bought it cheaper and somebody else prepared it. So yeah, and sometimes you have ingredients you don't need for everything, so it can't make it cheaper unless you're gonna buy something that you can use with every meal. So yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. We're not going out to spend $100 a plate every time we go out. So yeah, let
True.
somebody else do the dishes. Why I gotta do them? Is that how I show my love, doing dishes? Mm-mm.
I thought you guys might go to Texas Roadhouse.
that's
For special
definitely,
occasions, but not
yeah,
every day.
yeah.
That's not every day. Yeah.
That's
True.
how we know.
And
If I'm
not
at
always
Texas Roadhouse,
McDonald's or
yeah.
Wendy's or anything like that too. We found some diners that are reasonable that we can go
Mhm.
and get something to eat. And we don't eat the same thing all the time. So I would have to compromise, or he would have to compromise on what we're eating tonight. I mean, you're going to get fed, you'll be full, but did you enjoy it? Probably not, because it wasn't your favorite thing to eat. So in marriage, you got to compromise on what you are. He likes a lot of sugar. I like a lot of spice, and I don't care for that much sugar, and he don't care for spice. So after a while of hearing someone say, "How could you put hot sauce on all of your food?" and I'm going, "Don't watch my food," you know. So actually we don't even have hot sauce in the house anymore. So I forego that. So you compromise things just to have what everybody in the house would use. So yeah, going out to eat is better. I think I always vote for going out is better. That way everybody can get what they want. Nobody has to compromise. And
True.
if your order is wrong, is your order, not everybody's food is wrong, because you know how you like it, you know. So I don't know. That might just be spillover from my single life, because I just had to feed me and maybe one kid, you know, and he ate chicken tenders. So I don't know.
Chicken tenders are good.
My son thinks so. He could eat them every day.
He could. He could really, really could.
So what are you guys doing for your anniversary?
Well, we went to open house for our 10-year-old today, because school starts on Monday for him. And we both did something musical. I did stuff on Facebook dedicated to him, and he made me a playlist that we've been listening to throughout the day. So that's what we did this time. Well, today anyway. I don't know what else might happen, but that's
And
today.
set up her foot bath and everything.
Oh, I forgot all about that. I went to
Yeah, I
sleep.
know it's
Yeah, I
it's
completely forgot about that.
It's all right. And my son even kind of joined in the fun a little
Can
bit.
we count that? Can we really?
Yes, because
I
that
had to
was
pay
nice.
him. I had to pay him.
No, I paid him. Thank
Okay,
you.
well, he was paid. So can we
That was
count that?
that was a paid service.
Yeah, so we can't say he did it.
Right.
You
But I
paid
still
for the
think
service.
I still thought it was nice. You know, he wanted to
That he
kind of
was
like
willing to make
join into
money.
that he was just trying to, find his way to fit in, the celebration and seeing his mom relax and stuff. And, he rubbed his mama's feet and everything. I thought that
That
was
was
very
great.
nice. Everything, because she's not going to turn down a foot rub. She's not going to do that.
There's not a lot of people trying to do
Yeah.
that, so when you get a foot
Two
rub
things.
opportunity, you got to take it.
Two things that she will almost never turn down. That's food and foot rubs.
Oh yeah.
And money.
Is there food involved? I might give up money. If you got a plate of food, Alex, I won't need
I'm
your money. Just
kidding.
feed
I'm
me.
only joking.
No, I will work for food. Make sure there's a plate of food. I might not want the money. Give me the food.
Notice I did leave money out.
It's always a pleasure having my friends Catherine and CJ Jones on the show. And I can what Catherine and I and CJ have in store for 2023. So you can check out the rest of that interview on the Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale playlist as well. I've got a couple of more guests that I'm going to show, guest interviews that I'm going to show that took place here in 2022. But before we get to our final guest, it's time for a brief infomercial with some upcoming shows that are coming your way, including next Thursday. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving, and I'm going to be hosting the second annual Thanksgiving Bash. It's time to be thankful and time to stuff our face with turkeys. It's Thanksgiving month, and it's time to be thankful and time to stuff our face with turkeys. Hold on a second. It's Thanksgiving month, and sorry, we're having some tech issues right now, so let's get our information now. It's time to be thankful and time to stuff our face with turkeys. It's Thanksgiving month, and I, legendary Alex Cardinale, will host the second annual Thanksgiving Bash live Thanksgiving Day at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Join me, legendary Alex Cardinale, for the 2022 Thanksgiving Bash live Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, November 24th, 11 a.m., 8 a.m. Pacific. I, legendary Alex Cardinale, will talk about what I'm thankful for this Thanksgiving. I'll discuss my favorite Thanksgiving foods and memories. Plus, there will be appearances by Chef Alex Cardinale and Aqua Alex Cardinale. I'm sure Chef Alex will help answer your last minute Thanksgiving questions, plus give out good Thanksgiving cooking tips, as well as help you prepare a delicious turkey on Thanksgiving Day. What tropical fish topics will Alex bring for Thanksgiving? You'll have to tune in to find out. Plus, legendary Alex Cardinale previews the NFL Thanksgiving football games and more. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Don't miss the Thanksgiving Day Bash live Thursday, November 24th, 2022, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, right here on YouTube channel, The Legendary Alex Cardinale. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Go out and get those turkeys and tune in to the Thanksgiving Bash. Thursday, November 24th, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, right here on the legendary Alex Cardinale YouTube channel. Let's start the first Saturday in December in style. Let's celebrate the 25th episode of Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale on Saturday, December 3rd, 2022, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Saturday Live goes 25 on December 3rd at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, and I invite you to the party. There's going to be all the favorites that you love. Tampa Bay Buccaneers chat, funny videos, and more, plus additions to this party. There are going to be multiple special guests. The confirmed special guests so far include Little Egypt Aquarium Club founder and walk-in seller Jeremy Stellhorn, Slashmaster 1989, Jeff Edwards, who I podcast with many years ago. He'll be making his first appearance on my YouTube channel. And my friend and bowler Sandra Kemp will be back on the show. Plus, join Chef Alex in the kitchen as he celebrates 25 great episodes by making his version of a Twix cookie, somewhat of a copycat from Crumble. Plus, Aqua Alex discusses the gold stripe maroon clownfish and the Oscar cichlid, a double fish of the weekend for the 25th episode, and also get a Petco Fish Room tour on the 25th episode of Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. Also, I will announce the nominees for the best of 2022 for legendary Alex Cardinale YouTube channel. All that and more on the historic silver edition of Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. Saturday Live goes 25. The 25th episode airs live Saturday, December 3rd, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, right here on my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale. That's right. I can't wait for the 25th episode of Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. And I cannot wait for Thanksgiving next Thursday. I cannot wait to host the second annual Thanksgiving Bash next Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. All right. It's been a great time so far, but we've got two final guest interviews that I really enjoy doing here in 2022. Let's bring on our rabbit emperor. In the spring of this year, knowledgeable about rabbits, known as Paul's Amazing World of Rabbits. Can you tell us all about it? What is Paul's Amazing World of Rabbits, and what do you do?
Paul's Amazing World of Rabbits is a program I developed to bring education, enrichment, and awareness to communities. It's a program like no other, where people of all ages get to learn about these amazing animals, interact with them in a hands-on way, and 10% of all proceeds goes to fund conservation efforts. And if you're a hockey fan, that's called a hat trick.
Very, very cool. You should come down to Lake Worth, Florida and bring me a rabbit for my YouTube channel. I think that would be amazing. So the next question is about your career and why you incorporated rabbits into your career. So why did you decide to make this your career?
For me, this is much more than just a career. It's a journey into my past. Since I was a young boy, at 11 years old, coming home from school, I would watch shows like Animal Planet and National Geographic. I would watch guys like Jack Hanna and Steve Irwin, and I thought, that's what I want to do with my life. Work with animals and have a positive impact on young minds.
That sounds absolutely rewarding. Kind of similar to how I enjoy tropical fish and how I like to do Aqua Alex Live and aquatic wetline. So it's very refreshing to hear how someone is passionate about another type of animal, and yet we have similar similarities, which is awesome. So who is your target audience when you are doing these bunny shows?
Our target audience is kids young and old. Anyone who wants to learn something and loves animals can benefit from watching our shows.
Nice, that's very cool. So can you tell me, what is the run of your show?
It really depends on what the client calls for. We're extremely flexible and can adapt our program to fit the client's needs. Whether it's our full-length show, which includes an educational slideshow and interactive experience designed for schools and amusement centers, or something simple like our enrichment sessions, which are great for birthday parties and veterans homes. These are more designed for hands-on fun, where kids can feel the rabbits and take pictures with them, and veterans can find things like stress and anxiety relief in their day-to-day lives.
I would like to know, what are your goals for this year when it comes to your rabbit show?
Our main goal this year is to raise $2,500 towards breeding initiatives to rejuvenate the numbers of at-risk rabbit populations. And we can't do it alone, so we need your help. By booking events with educational animals, you can make a difference in the lives of these amazing creatures.
So Paul, my next question is, besides entertainment and education, what impact does your program have?
The best thing about our events, in addition to the entertainment and educational value, is the well-being people derive from being around these amazing animals. Otherwise known as pet therapy, it's been shown that just 15 minutes with a pet can drastically reduce a person's psychological stress and blood pressure. And the most significant impact that our events have is the conservation aspect. We designate 10% of all proceeds towards breeding programs designed to rejuvenate the numbers of at-risk populations. Currently, we're designating these funds to the American Chinchilla Fund, helping to boost their numbers and bring them back from their critically endangered status as a heritage breed.
You know, as a fellow YouTuber, I'm all about supporting other YouTubers and giving them promotions on my YouTube channel. So that's what our next question is going to be about. I want you to tell me all about your YouTube channel and why people should subscribe to it. Now, I've subscribed to your YouTube channel and I see that you have some gorgeous rabbits. So why should people subscribe to your YouTube channel, Paul? And please tell us about your YouTube channel.
Our YouTube channel is just a baby right now, but our aim is to make it grow and prosper into a knowledge hub where anyone can go and find out about these amazing animals. I'll be posting information about upcoming events, past events, and so much more. So if you have a moment, like, subscribe, and help us grow.
Alrighty, Paul, I would like to thank you for being my very first guest here on Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. I learned a lot about rabbits today, and I had a great time interviewing you. So thank you very much for being my very first guest. I hope you enjoyed it, and you knocked it out of the park. You did a really good job. So thank you for being my first guest on Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale.
Thank you so much for having me, Alex. It's always a pleasure to watch your videos. I'd wish you success, but it looks like you've already found it. I really appreciate you having me on and giving me the opportunity to connect with so many people. It was a real pleasure. Thank you, and God bless.
Known as Paul's Amazing World of Rabbits. All right. Well, I've had a blast hosting the inaugural Viewer Appreciation Night. I want to thank you all for your love and your support that you've given me throughout 2022. Thank you to all the great guests that I've interviewed here in 2022. And I've got some more amazing guests coming up in 2022 that I'm going to have the honor and privilege of interviewing. So, as we are all thankful for something this Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for the fact that I have a great YouTube channel with great supporters, great subscribers, and great viewers. Thank you for allowing me to host the Viewer Appreciation Night, because all 16 plus thousand of you are all very special to me. So thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to my channel if you are a new viewer. And I will see you next Thursday, Thanksgiving morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, for my Thanksgiving turkey cooking tips, and my Thanksgiving topics, including NFL football chat. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Have a great week and happy Thanksgiving. It's time to be thankful and time to stuff our face with turkeys. It's Thanksgiving month, and I, legendary Alex Cardinale, will host the second annual Thanksgiving Bash live Thanksgiving Day at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Join me, legendary Alex Cardinale, for the 2022 Thanksgiving Bash live Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, November 24th, 11 a.m., 8 a.m. Pacific. I, legendary Alex Cardinale, will talk about what I'm thankful for this Thanksgiving. I'll discuss my favorite Thanksgiving foods and memories. Plus, there will be appearances by Chef Alex Cardinale and Aqua Alex Cardinale. I'm sure Chef Alex will help answer your last minute Thanksgiving questions, plus give out good Thanksgiving cooking tips, as well as help you prepare a delicious turkey on Thanksgiving Day. What tropical fish topics will Alex bring for Thanksgiving? You'll have to tune in to find out. Plus, legendary Alex Cardinale previews the NFL Thanksgiving football games and more. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Don't miss the Thanksgiving Day Bash live Thursday, November 24th, 2022, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, right here on YouTube channel, The Legendary Alex Cardinale. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Go out and get those turkeys and tune in to the Thanksgiving Bash. Thursday, November 24th, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, right here on the legendary Alex Cardinale YouTube channel.